What is going on, Headliner Nation? Jake, Fantasy Headliners. Hopefully everyone's doing well out there today as we head into the weekend for Week 4. Fantasy football got a lot of things to cover, a lot of fun to have in this episode. Had an absolute straight burner of a week here in Week 4. Looking for some big things this weekend. Now, before we get into all the other content, there will be timestamps down below, but one thing that's really playing a part in Week 4 fantasy football has been weather, right? We know that Hurricane Ian absolutely devastating parts of Florida. Those people who are affected, you are in our thoughts and our prayers, definitely thinking about you down there. But I found that it was only the right thing to do to start off this show here with weather, because like I said, weather is going to play a big part here in Week 4. So without wasting any more time, I'm going to throw it out to our weatherman in the field, Tater Miles.
All right, I'm just going to be real honest with everybody right now. I have recorded this 3 times. I'm soaking wet. The camera will not focus because of the rain. So I'm filming this on this new phone that Jake said I should get. Sorry. Here's a clip of me standing outside with no britches on. As you know, we're in the middle of a hurricane, and my grandma always said, don't wear pants in a hurricane. I think it's because if you ain't got pants on, they can't get wet. I just stepped in dogs. Anyways, let's get into this weekend weather report, and then I got a tasty beer here I'm going to talk about. First off, we just want to send our thoughts and prayers to everybody who is affected by this hurricane. I know that some have lost their lives, and definitely don't want to make light of it. It does affect our fantasy team, so we're going to talk about that. But first and foremost, we want to send our thoughts and prayers to those who have been heavily affected and who are still being affected by this severe weather. First game I'm going to talk about is Buffalo and Baltimore, and it's looking like that all those games up and down the East Coast are really going to be the ones affected, obvious reasons. But Buffalo and Baltimore looks to be about a 65% chance of rain. I'm just going to breeze through these, no pun intended. Chicago and the New York Giants looks to be about a 72% chance of rain. Jacksonville Jaguars, Philadelphia Eagles looking like a 64% chance of rain. The New York Jets and the Pittsburgh Steelers, a 48% chance of rain. And then the last one I'm going to mention is the Arizona Cardinals playing right here in Carolina where I am. I'm experiencing a 100% chance of rain. 100? Maybe even 110. Come game time on Sunday, that's at the afternoon game, that 4:05 Eastern time slot. It's looking only about a 16% chance of rain, but the way this storm has been, it has changed courses so many times, I don't even know if it knows where it's going. So definitely want to keep an eye on all these games coming closer to game time to see how your lineups might be affected. You may not even have anybody left that ain't injured at this point that you can change out. Let me hit this beer review real quick. This is the Dragon's Milk. It is a bourbon barrel aged stout from the New Holland Brewing Company. I've seen these in so many different places. I'm pretty sure you can find this pretty easily, but it is a bourbon barrel aged stout. Like I said, it is 11%, so watch out for that one. But it says that it is roasted malt and it delivers notes of coffee, chocolate married with sweet undertones of vanilla. You got chocolate and vanilla. Oak from 3 months stay in bourbon barrels. It's a legendary blend of flavor. It is raining. It is windy. And this is a Dragon's Milk. That is not bad. It is very smooth. I can taste the vanilla for sure. That bourbon flavor into it. It's good. I would highly recommend this. I'm going to make this short. If you're into Game of Thrones, if you've ever seen a dragon, grab that thing and milk it. You're going to like the results. I like this. I might go find if there's any dragons in the hurricane. I'm going to find me one. I'm going to give this an 8.2 for a stout. Like I said, this is amazing. But that's it for this weekend's weather report. I'm going to get inside and take some cold medicine because for sure I will be sick after this. But I don't have to dry my pants off. Back to you, Jake.
Tater Miles like a damn hillbilly Jim Cantori at this point. Thank you for braving the elements, Tater, and bringing us the weather. But now we're going to talk about some end of the week news. A lot of stuff has happened here. End of the week, obviously, we all watched the game, Thursday Night Football. Thoughts and prayers going out to Tua. Sounds like he's going to be okay. Timeline moving forward. TBD. We do not know here just yet, but one thing I'll tell you is this. With Teddy Bridgewater coming into the game last night, he did not shy away from pushing the ball down the field. So a lot of people asking questions about Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle. Don't forget that Jalen Waddle wasn't 100% healthy coming into that game last night, regardless of who was playing quarterback. So that's going to be a little bit more of a reason that he was hampered, maybe than the quarterback play. We saw Teddy unload an absolute bomb to Tyreek down the field. And if he's going to be the continued starter here for the time being, I'm not overly worried about Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill. AJ Green for the Arizona Cardinals is out. We have James Conner, who is now back and healthy. Hollywood Brown, questionable. Rondale Moore, questionable. Who's catching passes? It's going to be a big Zach Ertz week, I have a feeling, here in Arizona, with everybody else absolutely banged up. Currently have Dawson Knox, tight end of Buffalo, is questionable. His teammate Gabe Davis has come out and said, hey, I'm playing. Now, obviously, there's a lot more that goes into that than just the player saying that. He is not officially active as of yet, but we'll wait and see. It sounds like he's going to be good to go. We have game time decisions in Tampa Bay with Julio Jones and Chris Godwin. We know that Michael Thomas has already been ruled out. Jameis Winston already ruled out. Jarvis Landry, questionable as of right now. Andy Dalton going to be the starting quarterback for the New Orleans Saints in London. And if anything, that's going to be a good thing for Alvin Kamara, who is expected to play as well. He's going to be one of the focal points of the offense here this week. David Montgomery has been ruled out. Get Khalil Herbert into your lineups. Amon-Ra St. Brown also already been ruled out, along with his teammate DeAndre Swift. We could have a slight scene of DJ Chark this week, maybe some TJ Hawkinson. Make sure you got Jamal Williams in your lineup, though, as well. Dalvin Cook, active, healthy, going to play. Cordero Patterson was back at practice on Friday. That's a good sign for him this weekend. Christian McCaffrey, currently questionable with a thigh injury. If I had to guess, he's going to play, but that's still kind of up in the air when it comes to Christian McCaffrey and injuries. You just never know. A.J. Brown back at practice after the birth of his child. Kadarius Toney and Wan'Dale Robinson have both already been ruled out for the New York Giants. We know they already lost Sterling Shepard. Could see a lot of Richie James this week as a name that, if you're desperate for a play, could be a possibility in that passing offense with just a lack of weapons. Maybe Kenny Golladay actually catches some passes now. I mean, he's making bajillions of dollars a year. Maybe he could rack up 2 or 3 receptions a week. Maybe. Michael Gallup looking to make his season debut this week as well. And Mac Jones is officially out. They kind of played with this all week. And I said in a show earlier in the week, I said, listen, they have to sit Mac Jones. Like, they just have to, right? Because he looked like he was about to die last week. He looked like his leg had been amputated on the field the way that he was screaming in pain. You can't come back from that, Mac. The man card would have been taken away immediately. He's out. Brian Hoyer in the game. But his teammate is something we really have to pay attention to. If you've watched me for any length of time, you know I have a love for Ramondre Stevenson. I told everyone to start him in the first 2 weeks of the year, and he bombed. I finally said, all right, we're going to sit him week 3. Dude went off. As of right now, he is primed for a bigger role in this offense. There's still a lot of risk there because Bill Belichick is the head coach, but this guy is on the verge of exploding. If he is available in any one of your leagues, don't let him be available anymore. Go stash him on your bench. But there's a lot of good games to look forward to this weekend. Me, personally, I'm really looking forward to Sunday Night Football. You got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Kansas City Chiefs. You got Tom Brady, you got Patrick Mahomes. A lot of offensive firepower could be in this game. We know that Chris Godwin's going to be that game time decision along with Julio Jones. If we get more of these guys back, we could be looking at a back and forth shootout. So this is the time where we usually dip into the Pristine auction mystery box to pull out a couple items for this week's giveaway. But I found it only fitting that we give away 2 items in the game that maybe I'm looking forward to watching the most. So, if you're interested in these upcoming giveaways, this is all you got to do. You got to head over to pristineauction.com and sign up for a free account. It doesn't cost you anything. Just use the referral code Headliners. When you do so, they're going to automatically put $10 as a credit into your account. And if you choose to buy something here in the future, you can use that $10 off towards that item. Costs you absolutely nothing. And by getting all the people there and signing up, it's what's allowing us to give these items away for free to you, the viewer. So make sure you head over to pristineauction.com right now, set up that free account using the referral code Headliners. Links down below in the description. So the 2 items that I'm going to be giving away this week, I got one from the Chiefs, got one from the Bucks. So let's go ahead and start off here. Now, I know that this player may not be loved by a ton of people, but he's coming off a pretty good game, has an opportunity to repeat again here this week with another solid performance, and his signature is honestly one of my favorites that I have ever seen. It's a clean signature. I have a signed Juju Smith-Schuster jersey right here, and you can see it's just a clean signature, right? I mean, it's like symmetrical all the way across. Great looking signature here. Any Chiefs fans out there, Chiefs Kingdom, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you get that free account signed up, because we're going to be giving this away shortly. And then if you've been watching this show since week 1, you know we had some items this offseason that got put back into the box because people didn't claim their prizes. One of them was a big one. This item right here is valued at over $400, and we're just giving it away to members of Headliner Nation. If that's not a reason enough to hit the like button, I don't know what. We're giving away thousands of dollars a year in free merchandise, autographed merchandise. So we're going to once again run with the signed Mike Evans cleat. Not some plastic shoe, not some fake shoe. This is a real Nike shoe signed by Mike Evans right there. Kind of celebrating the return of Mike Evans this week by giving away the Mike Evans signed cleat. Make sure you're paying attention to future episodes so you know exactly when this one is being given away. You do not want to miss out on this one. One of my favorite items that we have ever gotten in multiple years of Pristine auction right here. This is a sick shoe. Absolutely love this. So make sure you hit that like button, get your free account signed up. We'll be giving them away here shortly. Just make sure you stay tuned so you can hear your name called and you don't miss out on. I don't want to have to put the items back in the box because people don't pay attention to who wins. So looking forward to giving those away, but now the time has come for Show Us Your Teams. All right, here we go, Ethan. We got Show Us Your Teams for week 4, but before we get into the teams, I don't know, I'm sure you remember because you're a doctor and you're smart, but I don't know if the viewers out there all remember or not. We had a team last week that was submitted that had a lot of question marks. It was a great drawing by Buck Nato, and you and I and a lot of people in the comment section were like, how the hell did this team get put together? Well, he reached out to me on Twitter, and here you can see it right here. He sent me a DM about as long as the Mississippi, okay? And it explains every trade that he went through. He strategically laid it out. He's got like bulletin boards at the bottom with arrows and circles. I mean, dude went all out proving his case. So I guess it's legit. He's got himself a stellar team. He went to all lengths to prove his team to us here this week.
If it makes you feel better, Jake, I got the same message. So he was very concerned that we both knew.
Here I thought I was special and I got the message.
No, but everybody's going to get the message.
All right, well, let's go ahead and dive into our first this week. A ton of great submissions. Once again, like I've said in weeks past, if you don't get selected, don't get all your panties in a wad. Just resubmit it next week when we ask for it. We always tweet about it on Wednesday or Tuesday if I forget, and Ethan has to remind me. So here we go with the first team of the week. We have Forgive and Fournette. And just a couple weeks ago, Ethan, we talked about how no one writes in cursive anymore. All of a sudden, we're starting to get some cursive submissions. So here you go, Forgive and Fournette, currently 1-2, a 10-team PPR, even threw some cards at the bottom of the page for us here. First glance, though, what do you think about the writing?
Beautiful penmanship here. Is a 10-team league. We're not going to judge him too hard on that, but just really organized. He's got the grid paper here to make sure that he's looking good. I don't know if I really trust the cards at the bottom. A nice touch, not really necessary.
They're fake, right?
I can't tell. I'm not really the card guy. That'd be a good question for Kyle.
I feel like they're casting a shadow, so I don't know why they would be. Why is there a shadow on something that's laying flat on a piece of paper? See,
well, maybe it's just popped up. Hard to say.
It's not popped up. I think it's just a picture from the internet that was thrown on there, but that's okay.
Yeah.
When we do have the Headliner Breaks channel, so he was just trying to find ways to draw us in, and it worked because we ended up selecting his team. So let's go through the roster here. So his name is Forgiven Fournette, so he damn well better have Leonard Fournette on his roster.
Yep.
Which he does, so we're good there. He's also got Carson Wentz, Amon-Ra, Jalen Waddle, Dalvin Cook. There's Leonard Fournette with Kyle Pitts, Mike Williams, Cade York and the Browns. And then on the bench, Aaron Jones, good Lord, A.J. Dillon, all right, Tony Pollard, Alexander Madison, Derek Carr, Curtis Samuel, Garrett Wilson, hashtag Headliner Nation, and he's got both of our Twitter handles in there, spelt correctly, by the way, but also in cursive. Obviously, with a 10 team here, he's pretty freaking stacked. I do notice that it looks more like Jolin Waddle to me than Jalen Waddle.
Yeah, I'm seeing Jolin as well.
Or is it just John? Maybe it's John Waddle.
Your handle is also kind of funny to me. It says fantasy, but
it looks
like
cross.
the Nedliners.
It does look like the Nedliner.
Looks like the Nedliners a little bit. And Curtis Samuel, I think that S kind of threw him for a loop.
No, he was not expecting the S. No.
The cursive S to the A, that's a tough transition when you're writing cursive. So, we'll give him a pass on that.
Dude, I can't tell you the last time I wrote an S to an A.
S to an A. Yeah, I'm not a big cursive writer personally, but I imagine that it would be tough.
It is tough.
I don't know.
I mean,
seems kind of tough to me. He could be a little fancier on the P's. In Pollard could be a little bit fancier, but man, Jake, this is a good team.
Overall, it's great. I mean, you talk about the injury concerns to Dalvin Cook. Well, he's got Alexander Madison there on his bench, so he's covered there. Depth all over the place because it is a 10-team league. Aaron Jones on your bench is a great thing to have. Overall, I don't know if I'd prefer to have Derek Carr over Carson Wentz this week personally. I know Amon Ra is probably somebody, who we're watching here throughout the week with his injury concerns. But outside of that, overall, I got to give this an overall. I got to give it an A-, but still into the A category.
Yeah, I'm thinking A- as well, Jake. The only thing that concerns me about this team is you get to the playoffs. Let's say, this team, turns it around a little bit. Kyle Pitts starts giving you a little bit more juice, and you run into a team that has a quarterback that can win you a week. A team like, somebody that has Josh Allen or Pat Mahomes, or Herbert or Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
Do you have the juice to match up quarterback wise? I question that with Wentz. Wentz is one of those quarterbacks, and even Carr to an extent. Carr's a safer option week to week, but Wentz is one of those guys that you could get to a playoff and he gets you 0 points or 3 points. And you're like, oh, I lost my fantasy playoffs because I had Carson Wentz as my quarterback. In a 10-team league, you could have gotten better options. I know you probably waited as long as you could, but I would have liked to see a little bit stronger, or at least a little bit more upside at the quarterback position. And he might still, he's got good running backs on his bench. He might be able to swing to get a good quarterback later in the year when a team's already been, kind of ruled out of the playoffs before if they have one, a trade deadline. So I'd be considering that.
Now, in what I think is an internet image of these cards, are there any bonus points given because all 3 of the cards are on his roster?
I think those are real cards, Jake.
Do you really?
I'm not with you on that. I think those are real cards because he also, and we didn't show it, but he did send us one without the cards. So I feel like they're real.
Marco, let us know on Twitter, real or fake, because we'd like to know. All right, moving on to the next one. Here we have Kyle. Kyle, I apologize. I'm going to butcher your last name, or I could just call you Kyle G. Kyle Geohagen? Jehagen? Either way, Kyle had a submission last week, didn't get it in time, made the deadline this week. This is what happens when you resubmit. He has, is it the Moron Clan?
The Moran Clan.
The Moran Clan
sounds the best.
It sounds better.
It's the Moran Clan.
We got hashtag Headliner Nation pick 109 has the Twitter handles there on both sides, even the hashtag Manscaped, 20% off and free shipping with code word headliners at checkout. The team is Justin Chase. Okay, instead of just in case. So got to have Jefferson and Chase, who he's got the drawings of here on his sheet. He's got both of them in his lineup, so he's not losing any points there. He's got Joe Burrow, Nick Chubb, Travis Etienne with Jefferson and Chase, Waller, London, Wilson. And then on the bench, he's got Josh Palmer, Jeff Wilson, Tua, Jerick McKinnon, Nelson Aguilar, Logan Thomas, Romeo, it's Dobbs, but I love to call him Doobs. And then we also have Elijah Mitchell on his IR, and he's notated here that what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these bench players were from waivers.
Dude's working the waiver wire.
He working that wire.
A lot of turnover there on the team. I wonder who he's replacing, because you got to assume he drafted somebody.
Yeah.
Hope he's not giving up on guys a little bit too soon. But he could just be one that likes to turn the waiver wire over when he sees an option like a Jeff Wilson show up. Losing Elijah Mitchell, I don't blame him for maybe picking up Jeff Wilson there. But the first thing that stuck out to me, Jake, and we know that we're pro Chubb around here.
A lot of Chubb.
309 for Nick Chubb
is highway robbery.
An absolute thief in the night. You're probably in a league,
with a bunch of idiots,
Kyle, that you're in a league. No, Jake. Let's not assume they're idiots.
They're idiots.
Let's just assume that they're
Kyle.
being ill-informed.
Yeah, they're watching the wrong channel.
They're watching the wrong channel about Nick Chubb.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are watching the channels that are saying, hey, Nick Chubb doesn't catch enough passes.
What about Kareem Hunt?
Yeah, there's no chance he's going to, he
doesn't have the ceiling.
Yeah, it's just full PPR. We're not going to draft Nick Chubb in a full PPR. Jake, do you happen to know where Nick Chubb ranks among running backs in fantasy points this year?
Let's see. I just looked it up, and for half PPR, he was number 1 overall. Let me just see what full PPR is, because I have it right here, Ethan. I can just go ahead and magically make this happen. Right now, in full PPR, he is number 2 and only 2, not even 3 points behind number 1, Saquon Barkley. And that is a full PPR.
Yeah, and Saquon Barkley did have a dud week already. So 2 stud weeks, but 1 dud week. So Nick Chubb, no duds. This dude just produces week over week. So I love this team.
I love this team a lot.
A lot of studs. Studs just everywhere.
And even rookie some of his studs have been duds. Like even Justin Jefferson has had a rough start to the season. Jamar Chase not exactly exploding early on here in the season. Darren Waller not exactly exploding so far this season. He's got so much upside left on this team that as long as he just stays a little patient, these guys come around. It does look like he forgot that he lost a game at the top. He wrote 2-0 and then wrote 2-1. Or what happened is he took last week's submission. He lost last week and just scratched it out and changed it.
Yeah, but he updated from last week because he didn't have the pictures.
Yeah, he did.
Did he?
That's what drew my attention to it last week, I think.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe
it's colors, dude. I'm very basic. You know what I mean?
I know you're a color guy. I just wanted to see some cursive writing.
Cursive,
Okay.
Well,
wait
so
a second.
You love the
Josh?
team.
Is Josh Palmer? Is that spelled that correctly?
Is that Josue?
Josue? Yo, what's up, Josue? Josue Palmer.
It does not look like Josh or Joshua. It looks like Josua.
Josua Palmer.
Josua Palmer.
And then we got Jeff Wilson underneath him. We got Jeff Wilson Jr.
I mean, overall, I don't love some pieces on the bench, but with the way that the starting lineup is set up, really the only thing you're missing is a running back 2 because ETN is underproducing. You've had Jeff Wilson. You'll end up getting Elijah Mitchell back at some point. You're really struggling for that running back 2 spot. But I think you got so much firepower on this team that once they start to click, you're going to be good to go. I'm going to give this team a solid A- as well.
I'm going to go with a B. I think there's still some work to be done. I think that the team is really top heavy right now.
There's nothing wrong with being top heavy.
Well, hey, you know what I'm saying? Jefferson and Chase. I mean, you're going to love those guys.
And Chubb.
Obviously Nick Chubb, that's a stud pick at 309. The rest of the starting lineup is just full of solid, but not amazing producers thus far. Now, I think by the end of the year, these guys are all going to be fine. I am curious to see what happens with Garrett Wilson, with Zach Wilson expected to come back. Mm-hmm. And we know that he is, we don't know who his binky is yet, but we know what his binky was last year. So we'll see what happens with Garrett Wilson. But I'd probably, if I was making a decision on this team, I'd be throwing Jeff Wilson up into the flex spot if it was me, or even I could be, could see him as an RB2
over Travis Etienne.
Yep.
All right. So now let's move on to the next one. Ethan, do you like Halloween?
Love Halloween.
Are you a fan of the fall weather?
I love the fall weather.
Here we go. Candy Corny has a submission here of the fall guy, which I have to, it's a play on the season. It's the fall season. He's got a pumpkin pictured here. His name is Candy Corn. I mean, everything right here is just surrounding the fall season. So he was definitely submitted here because I like candy.
Yes.
Sorry, I am who I am, but the fall guy, let's see what his team actually looks like. Now, I do have one question at the bottom. It says Discord rocks ... for Kyle. I don't really know. Maybe there's some inside story here. Maybe there's a different conversation that he's had with Kyle or something at some point.
I mean, in his defense, our Discord absolutely rocks.
It does rock. It's pretty fun.
Amazing. If you are not a member of this channel, you need to get on there because we be talking injuries, just injury updates. I get up at like 5 a.m. on Sundays to give you injury updates. You wake up to just you don't even have to go anywhere else.
Just a plethora.
Go in and just look at all the injury updates that I give you day of on Sunday as the week's going on, giving just so much info. And that's just my part. That's just the part I do, answering every single injury question. I mean, the Discord rocks.
Yeah, it does rock. It does 100%. It rocks. How about the team though? Does the team rock? He's got Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
He's already started rocking. Saquon Barkley and Jonathan Taylor.
Ooh.
Okay, now my candy corn's getting excited. We got Mike Williams and AJ Brown.
Okay.
1 out of 2 ain't bad right now. Mark Andrews been popping off. Got the Mark Andrews, Lamar Jackson stack to go along with Drake London in his flex. Super Evan McPherson with the Saints. And on his bench, he's got Breece Hall, Damian Pierce, and Michael Thomas. So it's a short bench. But the first thing that I notice here, because I'm petty AF, Ethan, is how come Lamar Jackson's the only guy who had his first name spelt out? Is it because he's earned it this season? I guess he has earned it. But he got the full Lamar Jackson. I guess you can say AJ Brown is technically spelt out, but how come they're not all spelt out, do you think?
Well, I think part of it was he had more space at the top.
Oh, he wasn't accounting for the eyes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I do think that, well, I am a little surprised at how short his benches are. I wonder if this is a league where
it's a super short bench.
I mean, I don't see how many teams are in this league, but this team is pretty stacked, especially at the top. So I wonder just how many, I mean, they're not going through that many picks. There's got to be a pretty solid waiver wire out there if you only get 3 bench spots. But he's really hit on a lot of these picks. I mean, I just read today that, did you know that Drake London is leading the league in target share right now?
I did not.
He's at like 39%.
That does not surprise me.
Drake London. That is insane. So I like where he's at from a team perspective. I think that Drake London could end up being his wide receiver 2.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Williams could be sliding down in the flex, or even be, swapped out for one of those running backs if they pop off later in the year. But I like the presentation. I love the fall. I'm going to give him a slight. He didn't put the fall guy or his name in cursive. And so, or really anything else. So I'm going to give him slight
deduction. You still going A-?
I'm going A-. It's a really good team. I mean, you got Barkley and Taylor. You're going to be pretty set.
Yes.
Week to week. I just don't see any way that this team isn't competing for a title this year.
I absolutely love this team as well. All right, let's move on to the next one now. We have Ayuk to have Pickens, who's got a couple of cleats hanging up. And on the cleats is our logo. He did not account for how long the word headliners was when drawing the logo, or maybe he did, and he just, hey, you know what? I'm going to try to make it as realistic as I can. At first, I didn't know if these were like shoes hanging over power lines. Like, I didn't know exactly. I didn't know if these were like cleats hanging up in lockers. I didn't know if I should go rewatch the TV show The Wire. I just didn't understand at first what was going on here. But you pointed out the cleats themselves, I couldn't draw cleats that well. Like those are
pretty good.
They're pretty good cleats, especially since he used Sharpie to draw. He didn't even use pencil. He used a Sharpie, which is impressive. Anybody who uses a straight Sharpie is one of two things. One, an absolute savage, or somebody who's just so overly confident in their handwriting skills that they don't really care. They're going to make do with whatever happens. As you can kind of tell there, right after Jamal Williams had to scribble something out, but that's okay. That's going to happen. How about the team, though, Ethan? Because this is the second team here that I see right off the bat that has Carson Wentz as their starting quarterback, followed by T. Higgins, Mike Evans, Jonathan Taylor, Khalil Herbert, Dallas Goedert, because I know I'm feeling fancy right now. You're always feeling fancy. He's got Jamal Williams, which is great. And then Josh Jacobs, Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Damian Harris, and Brandon Ayuk on the bench. So he has the Ayuk in the team name, but I don't see no damn George Pickens on here.
Did he trade Pickens? I feel like I've seen this team name before.
Honestly, I see so many team names. I don't know for sure.
We've done a bunch. We're really after the artwork. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The team is solid. We've already talked about what I feel about Wentz. I just worry when you get there. Misspelled Jamal, and that's a tricky one.
The second A is silent.
The two A's is just, you got to have all those A's. So
you get a slight deduction from your A grade by missing an A.
I don't think he's going to get an A. I think the team is okay.
This bench is pretty freaking good, though.
Yeah, I feel like how are we not getting Drake London up in there?
On a 14-team full PPR, this is a great bench.
Yeah. Really good value. I feel like these are all guys that were underappreciated in drafts this year.
Ayuk,
really,
Harris,
even like Damian
Jacobs,
Harris.
Yep.
I mean, really a good team.
Yeah. Overall, the biggest miss you have right here is a stud starting quarterback, something that you may be able to capitalize on right now, especially if David Montgomery were to miss some time. You could use Khalil Herbert as a gambling chip. Garrett Wilson's been playing great. We don't know what he's going to be like with Zach Wilson. He could be a chip to play with. You have some pieces that maybe you could swap in there and get yourself an upgrade at quarterback.
If it was me, Jake, and I'm looking at this on Friday.
Okay.
I have some insider info that is very important regarding David Montgomery. I may or may not know someone who's actively treating him, may have gotten some behind the scenes knowledge for Headliner Nation.
Which you've probably already dropped in the injury episode anyway.
Well, I probably did, but I'm dropping it here too in case you didn't see it. I would not plan on David Montgomery missing a whole lot of time with what he's got going on right now. So that's all I'm going to say. I'd maybe capitalize on Khalil Herbert, possibly off his big week. But overall, the team is good. I'm going to go with an A minus, because you're right. The more I think about it, for a 14-team league, having a bench like this is pretty solid.
Yeah, it's a solid bench in a 14-team. All right, last one here. We got one from Corbin. Corbin gave us the MCDC kneecap eaters. I guess at the top of the page, he even put a legend up there for us in case we didn't know what F stood for.
Yes.
We know it's for flex, so that's a good thing.
Thank goodness. I was worried.
I had no idea what F
could not have figured that one out.
He's got the hashtag Headliner Nation. He's got our Twitter handles.
Yep.
He's got a gravestone that says RIP Trey Lance 2022 FF season.
Yep.
The first time in the history of Show Us Your Teams, Ethan, that we have a coach spot in a team.
Yeah.
His coach is Motor City Dan Campbell, which has to be the MCDC in his team name, so he doesn't get the point deduction there. But yeah, I've never seen another team with a submission that has a coach spot. Have you seen one of those before?
Points for the coach?
I have never played fantasy football that had a coach spot.
Jake, before you read that, what did you think MCDC meant? Because I was thinking like the McDonald's kneecap eaters or the McDicks.
I'm trying to think of something that I can say on the internet here and not get like totally flagged for something. My coach does calisthenics?
Cocaine.
Cocaine.
My coach does cocaine.
Which, yeah, you never know. You never know. Stranger things have happened in Detroit there in the Motor City. All right, let's look at the team now. Because it's not in cursive.
No.
It's not legible, but it looks like it was rushed a little bit. We got Trevor Lawrence. Is Trevor spelt wrong?
Yes.
Okay, just want to make sure.
Oh, that's not the only mistake I've seen.
I know. I'm getting there. We got Mike Evans. We got Jalen Waddle again.
Oh, Jalen Waddle.
Jalen Waddle made 2 appearances on this damn. That's how good he is.
Shout out to Jalen.
That's right. DeAndre Swift.
There's no E.
Technically, no E. It's supposed to just be apostrophe.
Yeah, that
Corbin,
one throws me off.
We're not bashing you here, buddy. We're just having a little bit of fun with this. Christian McCaffrey. Surprisingly, McCaffrey spelled correct. I see a lot of people that misspell the McCaffrey part of Christian McCaffrey. So great job there. Amon-Ra, Kyle Pitts, who he traded for, looks like Devontae Smith. He's got Ryan Suckup and the Browns, who are currently streaming or steaming, one or the other.
Did he trade Pitts for Smith, or did he?
I think he
Smith
got
for
Pitts for Devontae Smith.
Okay, I was a little confused by the wording, but I think you're right.
Yeah. On his bench, he's got Carson Wentz, Gabe Davis, Travis Etienne, James Robinson.
No, that's Gabe Duvis.
Gabe Duvis.
Yeah.
It's like almost like Duval, except it's just
Duvis.
Gabe Duvis. Damian Pierce and Ramondre Stevenson. So he's got the Jags backfield locked up. I mean, overall, I don't dislike this team. You got to get DeAndre Swift probably out of your lineup this week. Luckily,
the next couple weeks.
Yeah, the next couple weeks. Luckily, you have guys like James Robinson or Damian Pierce that you could put in there here this week. No issues. Outside of that, I'm not making any other changes here. Trevor Lawrence has a more difficult matchup this week, but he's playing pretty well. The first time we've ever seen him throw multiple touchdowns in back-to-back games. So overall, I don't dislike this team, Ethan. I don't dislike it. We do just need to focus a little bit more on making sure that the players' names are spelled correctly.
Yeah, I think the team's pretty solid. I'm going to go with a B because I do think he's going to have to deal with some injury luck here, especially in the next few weeks. So we'll see how he does with that. He does have the running back depth on his bench.
Mm-hmm.
Do worry a little bit when we get into bye weeks with only having Gabe Davis on the bench for a wide receiver. I'd maybe be looking possibly to get another high-end wide receiver to fill in for those weeks where Jalen Waddle or Jalen Waddle or Mike Evans are out on buys. We know that those are things that we got to start thinking about as we get past week 4 here, especially. So,
and I don't know, because I don't have the schedule in front of me. He does have Amon-Ra in his flex as notated by the F from the legend.
Oh,
above.
yes. Oh, sorry.
So technically he could use Amon-Ra and then sub in one of his running backs.
I thought the F was for forget, which is what I did.
Totally forgot.
Amon-Ra there. So
I'm totally here to help.
Yeah. I mean, I'd still like another wide receiver just for some balance on the bench, but overall I think the team's pretty good.
What do you give it?
Solid B plus.
I was thinking solid B plus on this submission.
A lot of good teams tonight.
A lot of good teams here. Corbin, all love, my friend. We ain't trying to bash on you. We're just having a lot of fun here. But like we say, Ethan, we get a ton of submissions every week, and it's getting really hard to pick really good ones. So make sure if you weren't picked once again, look for those tweets. They come out every Monday or Tuesday. Put the notifications on for myself and Ethan, because as soon as we post it, you're going to know about it, and you can drop your submissions in there. We like to pre-make some of these graphics, so the quicker you get them in, the better chance you have of making it into the show. So hopefully you enjoyed another segment here, the week 4 edition of Show Us Your Teams. Ethan, you got anything here as we head out for the day?
Yeah, I'm looking for color next week.
Oh, you want more color?
Would like to be on Show Us Your Teams.
Need some
color.
Show
us some color.
Ethan wants you to bust out the Crayolas in week 5.
Crayolas.
Okay? Crayolas. Bust out those colored pencils, those Crayolas. That's what the doc is looking for. Now you try to have a sneak peek. You know what to do for next week to grab our attention. But for now, hopefully you guys enjoyed Show Us Your Teams in week 4. Awesome. Show Us Your Teams. Always a good time. Now, I was going to have a cooking segment this week. However, we are in North Carolina, and we are currently getting dumped on with rain nonstop with the kind of aftermath of Hurricane Ian. It's been raining for a while. Haven't had a chance to go out. I'm not going to go outside and just stand in the rain right now and cook. But there's more coming. Don't worry. Don't freak out. We have more awesome recipes coming out. Plus, I kind of want to open this up a little bit. I'm going to ask our members who are in Discord if they have some recipes that they want to see on camera, that they want to see us try, as long as it's not disgusting. I'm going to open that up to some of our members on Discord. So if you're not in there yet, consider becoming a member and head over to Discord and have a lot of fun with us. But that's going to wrap up the Week 4 Tailgate show right now. Hopefully you guys had a great week. Hopefully you're able to sit back, relax, watch some football this weekend, and really enjoy yourself. Looking for a lot of bounce back performances for a lot of big time studs in fantasy football. But for now, I'm going to get out of here for the day. Hopefully you have a great rest of your day, a great weekend, and we'll talk to you later.